Understanding American schools is really difficult. Why is it so confusing? Well, I'm going to walk you through 4 general phases of American education that I kind of made up, but I think that they'll help you kind of get a better understanding of how American school systems got to be the way they are. Did you ever sit in school and say, why am I learning this? Yeah, well, people didn't used to say that because they didn't have to go to school. People used to learn morals, skills, and trades through their communities, through oral traditions, mentoring, apprenticeships, and the like. Even if you wanted to specialize in something like farming, you'd probably just follow someone around a farm. People have always learned, but they haven't always been schooled. So what changed? Well, first, after the invention of the printing press, people had more access to books, and literacy was deemed more important, particularly in Protestant communities that wanted people to read the Bible for themselves. So next time you're bored in school, I guess you could just blame books, right? In early colonial history, a lot of European settlers felt there was a need for schools for highly educated pastors of the town or just for people to gain basic literacy skills. So a hodgepodge of more formal educational options started to emerge, from Latin grammar schools for rich white males to dame schools for boys and girls with pretty limited options for girls to apprenticeships for males. Then the American Revolution happened, and a lot of people thought maybe the US Constitution will bring a more standard model for education to the new country. It didn't. The US Constitution that went into effect in 1789 said nothing about education, thus leaving educational decision-making authority to every single state. Yeah, that's right. If you want to understand educational systems in the US, you better get studying, because you need to learn about 50 different systems. So still, back at that time, many of the states didn't do much to set up educational systems at first. A lot of people didn't think they were needed, and they certainly didn't want to pay for them. So in steps the reformers of the Common School movement, starring Horace Mann in Massachusetts and lots of other leaders in other states. Mann argued that schools could be the great equalizer, so any student, and of course at this time he means white, male, and hearing, could improve their lot in society through education. That's called meritocracy, and we're still kind of working on that one. Catherine Beecher teamed up with Mann to argue that women could be teachers in all these schools, and they do it for cheap because, well, they didn't have many other options at that time for work outside of the home. She also helped to promote normal schools to train teachers. States then started requiring students to attend these public schools with compulsory attendance laws. By 1900, 31 states had systems of education, and by 1918, every state did. Of course, a lot of states still had laws segregating students of color, who in turn often had schools in their own communities. And we all know in 1954, the US Supreme Court got rid of segregation laws in the United States. And that's even if we don't talk very much as Americans about how segregated schools still are today. So once all states had public school systems, Americans commenced one of our most treasured national traditions: arguing about what students should learn and do in school. There have been many influential committees where people, often not including any teachers at all, got together and decided what students should learn, aka they decided the school curriculum. There have been national laws passed to help fund math and science education because a different country had some guys send this thing into space. And even though states control education, a U.S. Department of Education was created in 1979 to support and influence states. In recent years, the federal government bribes the states. Okay, technically they're not bribes, but they're kind of like bribes. To meet certain standards, to make sure that no child is left behind and make sure every school races to the top by making students take standardized tests over stuff they'll probably forget by the next day. So the states don't have to take the money and they don't have to do the testing stuff, but they pretty much do because, money. So that's America's education system. Clear as mud, right?